Okay, we are back with our Pope of Loans, Jeremy Pope. Hey, Jeremy.
Hi, how are you today?
Great. How are you?
I'm wonderful, wonderful.
Well, Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
So when we were talking, we were thinking, let's do our own market predictions because I feel
Sure.
like they're kind of all over the place and
Right,
it's very confusing and it's a lot of opinions from people who actually are not in the industry.
right, right,
Okay.
right. Yeah, I
So,
mean, there's opinions out there about people that are in the industry and maybe they're biased towards boosting it up. People that
right.
aren't, that really don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
And then the media just wants to stir up the fear. They don't want to talk about anything good. So
right.
yeah, there's information flying around everywhere. Yep.
So I know you wanted to take like a quick look back at 2020 and then let's do some predictions for this year too.
Cool. I can do that.
Great.
Absolutely. So as a whole, Cincinnati market covering the tri-state, right? Home prices saw about a 7% increase in 2020.
You said seven.
Seven,
It
seven,
feels like
seven.
70.
Yes, it does. It does. Some pockets are doing better than others, right?
Okay,
So
sure.
one suburb is experiencing 10% growth, another is 2. When you average everything out, that's, we're at 7, but
Okay.
very, very good numbers. So basically, if you bought a $300,000 home in 2019 and you just lived there, you did nothing else, you didn't remodel, you didn't do all that stuff, the 7% increase would have given you about $21,000 in appreciation,
Ooh.
right? At the same time, you're paying on your loan. Now, depends on the rate, the term, the loan amount, all that stuff. But I just basically used the 30-year 3%. And it was about $7,000 principal reduction.
Which is really good. And I mean, we've done a video on that before. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
a point that a lot of people miss. Like, yes, prices are higher,
Yeah.
but because the interest rate is so low, you're actually paying down more of your principal.
Yes.
It's
Yes. Well,
crazy how the
right.
math works.
Well,
Yeah.
you have two things at play. You got the home price going up and your balance is going down. So think of Pac-Man, over time,
Yeah.
it just gets bigger.
Yeah.
But right there, just living in the $300,000 home, you would have seen roughly $28,000 of equity, 21,000 from it going up, 7,000, and you making payments.
That's great.
So a lot of people I think are on the fence because they're seeing, well, home prices are high and I don't want to buy right now. Well, really, I don't think there's really an end to sight. Like home prices are going to continue to go up, I believe.
You don't think we're going to have any like short sales or foreclosures or things like that? Any market corrections?
I think we'll see some of that. Some rental properties, I think they're kind of talking about maybe seeing some issues. The reason behind that is kind of the eviction rules right now with COVID.
Right.
Got renters that aren't paying rent. Landlords can't remove them to get somebody in who can pay rent.
Mm-hmm.
So they're floating their payments. They can only do that so long. So we might see some pain there.
But really, when you look at the stats, like the foreclosure rate is not high. There's like the default rate, there's like no indication that we're really going to see. People are nervous that it's going to be like 2008 and 9, but there's really no evidence.
I mean, that's a housing bubble, right? And the only way a housing bubble really occurs is when you have too much supply and not enough demand.
We're the opposite.
What is going on right now? The exact opposite.
Yeah.
You have floods of people coming to market, and there's no houses to buy.
Right.
So the exact opposite of what we saw in 2008. So I think that housing bubble argument is very shaky. If you jump into that housing market, which I think you should do, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a loan guy, right? But you would experience, if the market saw about half of what it saw in 2020, if it saw 2021 looked like half of 2020, it's still a good year, because where you would have seen $28,000 of equity built on that example, you're going to see another 14. So, you know, you can sit around and kind of wait, but you just missed out on 28,000, then another 14. I mean, how much is it going to take before you jump in the pool?
Well,
right?
do you think that interest rates are going up? Or
I
they'll stay
don't
the
think
same?
so.
Okay.
The Federal Reserve met, it's within the past 2 weeks. I don't remember exactly. And they were throwing out some very strong words, saying how they are committed. They're using the word committed. We are committed to using all the tools we have available to keep interest rates low through 2023.
Wow.
So, I mean, they can't control it all, but they have a lot of tools. They can, you know.
I did read an article. Is this true that the FHA loans are going to have less down payment? Is that true?
I haven't seen anything like that.
You haven't seen anything like that. Maybe that was like wishful thinking.
I think they're starting to sort of talking about that. I mean, it's already at 3.5%. You got conventional loans at 3%. Veterans can buy for nothing. And you got USDA, which is still 0 as well.
Yeah, so that's pretty
low. There's
low.
a lot of 0 down, or, you know, low down payment options out there. You don't have to have a big chunk of change.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, I think it is a good time because rent is really high right now.
Yes.
I mean, rent is really high. So if you take a look at the rent that, if you're paying rent, like what are you paying and how much house can that buy for you? And I know we did a video on that, and it's a lot.
It is. It is. The number one thing I think with rent is, like, if you're going to buy now, you can take advantage of the really low interest rates and sort of lock in your payment for the next 30 years if you want to stay there. Now, they're going to go up a little bit with taxes, but rent, you can't lock in anything.
No.
Landlord wakes up and decides to raise your rent that day. What are you going to do about it?
Let's calm down on bashing landlords. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm one too, but okay.
I'm just teasing.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah, and I think too, it's also like a good time we're calling it like right size the property. So if, you know, now all your family is like working from home and going to school from home and you need something bigger, it's a good time. Or maybe everybody's now gone and you need something smaller. And we had talked about in another video, just because you like downsize in the property size, you may end up upsizing like your payment because you're actually like a lifestyle. But it is a good time to like move regardless of your situation in most cases.
Sure, absolutely. You know, another thing that I think is there's a lot of bad information out there, and we touched on it before. The media just kind of likes to talk about bad news. They don't like to talk about fun, nice things, right? Stir the fear. I've been hearing a lot about this affordability issue where they're saying, you know, home prices are becoming to a point where no one can afford them. It's a terrible time to buy.
It's not even true.
It's not. The metric that is being used to measure affordability is the problem. They are using median home price. They're not using an average, which would make more sense. They're using a median. Okay. So that is just simply a big long list of numbers. What is the middle number? Okay.
Oh yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Doesn't, because there's really two markets at play right now. You have a little bit of the higher end homes and you have a little bit of the lower end homes, right? The higher end homes are moving. The lower end homes, there are none. Right. So what do you think's happening to the median?
It's going higher.
And the media thinks that it's just, prices are out of control. It's no, there's just not enough houses on the lower end.
That's because it's gone up 7%.
Right. There's just, they're not
or
there.
Whatever. Right.
And one of the things that is kind of driving all this too is, I think interest rates are catching people's attention, which is what it should do. We are in, I mean, this is all-time lows. This is not,
this is insane.
This is a big thing, right?
Yeah.
And then also something really interesting, and I haven't heard many people talk about this. The average home buyer right now is about 33 years old. And for some reason, I don't know what it is. Maybe it was a cold winter, I don't know. But 33 years ago, the birth rates in the United States spiked.
That's so
Like,
weird.
There was just lots of babies 33 years ago. So now fast forward to now, and we've got a bunch of home buyers in the market.
But I wonder, is 33, do you know, like compared to other years, is that kind of higher than it's been in years past?
I would say it
It
probably
seems
is. I
like
don't
it
have
is.
data on that, and I'll
Yeah.
get you some on that. I guess in my head, I'm thinking, I feel like people are getting married older, having kids old. Everything's kind of just being pushed down the line, but we
Yeah.
all are living longer too. So I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, that's true. It all like averages out. Cool. So summarize our 2021 predictions. We think interest rates will stay on the low side.
Yes.
We think that the prices will rise, just not as much.
Yes. Which is okay. That's not a bad thing.
No, it's
Right.
not a bad thing. We
Right.
don't want them really getting out of control.
No. I mean, it's, when you're seeing home prices go up 10 and 12 and 15%
That's
in
too
one year,
much.
things that go up fast also come down fast. We want slow and steady growth. 7% is exceptional. I like the 3.5 to 4 number better though. I
Well,
do.
that matches inflation more.
It's more
right.
controlled.
Yeah. And then we think, I mean, I'm personally hoping for more stability in inventory because this, like,
Yes.
too much demand and not enough supply is not good. Like in real estate, a stable market is about a 6-month supply. Now, if you're on the market for 6 days, something's wrong.
Something's wrong with your house.
So I personally, I'd like to see it balance a little bit more. I don't know how we're going to get that, but it would be great.
Right. It's unfortunate that the construction costs, the land costs, the price of just the supply chain with COVID is just so screwed up. I'm just hearing that, I've always thought, why is there not a home builder out there putting up $200,000 houses?
You can't build for that.
Told you just can't. They can't afford it.
You
It's
can't build for that. There's not a lot of land either,
no,
too. Like you'd have to be pretty far, and they have development costs. It's expensive.
Yeah, we really need some more houses on that lower, I shouldn't say lower. I'm just going to say, 250 and down. That's where a lot of first time home buyers are. That's who's in the market. That's who needs houses.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, yeah, I'll work on it. Thanks. Maybe we can start going underground.
I'll have to check on the lending rules on that.
Yeah. Or maybe in the city, if they start allowing tiny houses, maybe it would be all right.
Sure.
Well, remind us where, if somebody is looking or has, if a realtor is looking for a new lender, or if a buyer is looking to get a loan, where do you do business?
I do business in Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky, and I can be reached on my cell phone, and also Pope of Loans on Instagram and Facebook. And I'd
What's
love
your
to
cell?
My cell, 513-432-6971.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot for being on, Jeremy. Hopefully people found this helpful and relaxing and not so.
Yes.
We're helping bring down the anxiety.
It is. There's nothing to be anxious about. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
Rates are low, and home prices are going up at a healthy clip. I don't think there's anything to panic about.
Agreed. All right. Well, thanks a lot, Jeremy. Have a good day.
You too.